First, it was COVID-19 that sent the global economy into tailspin, and just as things were beginning to stabilize, it's been hit by a war in Ukraine. It's seen rising oil prices, which sending inflation soaring, of course, seems to be the norm, and world leaders are now meeting at the World Economic Forum in Davos, and this will be top of the agenda. Team South Africa is led by Cabinet's economic cluster head, that's Minister Mmamoloko Kubayi, and she joins us live now from Davos. Minister, thank you so much for your time this morning. We know that, I've seen the program quite full with activities, spanning till the 26th of this month. But do you think this is a different kind of meeting given the challenges that are experienced around the world?
Good morning to Melo. Good morning to your viewers. Yeah, indeed, we're coming into Davos WEF this year differently. You'd note that initially the World Economic Forum meeting would take place in January with a lot of heads of states, many countries participating. With the impact of COVID, they had to change how they operate, changing the number of delegations because meeting rooms, for example, where you engage has to be pre-booked as a participant in countries, interesting, showing what you have to contribute into that and significant. So it's not free moving like previously, where you would be able to engage properly in all that. So there is, but the support is there, the engagement is there, bilaterals are happening. And because it's happening at the backdrop of COVID-19, which has impacted negatively into the global economy, but also while we are here as well, it's the Ukraine and Russian conflict that is impacting on the value chain within the global community, the issues around China in terms of the lockdown responding to COVID-19, which affects, again, in terms of production and material supply. So that's the context that WEF is taking place as we participate as Team South Africa.
Right, and I suppose for you as Minister, being the economic cluster head representing Team South Africa at WEF, what's the strategy from Team South Africa? You are, manoeuvring an ailing economy in South Africa due to various challenges. We can name them, whether it's Eskom, blackouts, high unemployment rates, etc. And at the same time, obviously, with your global counterparts, trying to get that commitment, reaching for those priority high economic growth strategies. What's your strategy, Minister, then in balancing the two?
Our approach in WEF, firstly, is to be able to be upfront and open about where the issues are, the challenges are, but give a report. We're not coming to WEF really in a serious back foot. There's been positive developments that are currently being experienced or that we have seen in our economy. One, in terms of our improvement in our fiscal environment. Second is the rating agencies, both Moody and S&P, giving us a positive outlook in terms of where we were standing previously. The commodity prices that actually helped in terms of revenue for us. And also the implementation report that we are carrying of the ERRP, Economic Reconstruction and Recovery Plan. You'd have seen the presidency released the report of the structural reform. This is what global partners had asked us to do to make sure that there is conducive environment for investment. So that's the background that we are having. And what we are doing in terms of the challenges is to be able to give confidence in terms of identifying where we know the challenges are. One of the issues, as you mentioned, is around Eskom. We would want to also improve our ports in terms of competitiveness, making sure that we improve in terms of logistics, what we call network industries, so that we can remain the actual hub as South Africa, which becomes the gateway to the continent, as we seeing the opportunity of driving the African Free Trade Agreement implementation or operationalization. So in that context, we are able to give feedback in all the areas and give first-hand information to our investors or potential investors in what South Africa is doing. There's positive report because we are saying what we have committed previously, 60%, which is conservative, of the things we have committed, we have implemented. We are starting to show the signs of what previously was a huge outcry from global partners in terms of dealing with corruption, and we are showcasing progress that has been made. And what is important is to showcase that compared to even other countries, we're far better. We're starting to see prosecutions, and this is comparative so that we can show that if you look at other countries, for example, when Brazil had a challenge, they took more than 3 years to deal with them. We are already starting to see cases before court, and that's what the message we are saying to global partners.
Right. I want to touch on what you've just mentioned, Minister, now around corruption. We know that it's been part of your strategy to root out corruption. You're in the Ministry of Human Settlements. We know there's deep-rooted corruption when it comes to whether it's irregularities. I mean, you have set aside almost a mission to ensure that corruption is rooted out as far as your department is concerned. How do you think you have fared? I'm asking this because the DA came out during Parliament saying that you have a very heavy hand that you're dealing against here with croonies that will not let go of, greed and corruption. It almost sounded like a warning to say they understand what you're dealing with and they wonder if you are prepared for what lies ahead, because corruption in this country is so deep-rooted. So how are you faring when it comes to that aspect, Minister?
Look, the issue for us is to put systems. I do believe that this government is committed, and it's not a lone fight. It's not a lone fight against corruption. It's a government system that we are putting in place to fight corruption, starting from the president. So I have the most support, both in terms of my political party, both in terms of my leadership, in terms of cabinet, but even my colleagues supporting. That's why we work closely with the police, Minister of Police, for example. Recently, we were having even a conversation. I was giving him feedback when we were in the communities, and he was saying to us, we will make sure that we put together systems to support you. For example, the issues of construction mafias. He's already looking into that and responding. So I do believe that there is support generally, and there is an understanding from government that we have no other option but to fight corruption as government. And that's why we are saying when we find cases, we'll open those cases. I've, yes, definitely said that when we have cases of corruption, and we've really appealed to many people to say, provide us with information. We have written to the SIU to even hand over a file that relates to unfinished projects in the portfolio, that we are saying we do not have the capacity to be able to analyze whether these are worthy of criminal procedures, prosecution. So help us to look into this, where companies have left projects unfinished but money gone. So those are already, I have written formally to Advocate Mutibe and given him a file. So we do believe that that is work that we have to do as government, and it's not only the Minister of Human Settlement, but it's an initiative and a decision by Cabinet led by the President.
And just my last question to you, because you did also mention your political, party and your comrades and the leadership support that you receive. I would like you to just put on your party hat for a moment here, because I understand that you're the new ANC economic head minister within the ANC. What are your thoughts then for the party being blamed for the mess we're seeing at Eskom, but also the economy in general? What's the party's perspective?
Look, as the political party, as the ANC, we have taken responsibility where there's been wrongdoings. So you would see over time, for example, as we went to 2017, there would be a report by then Secretary General, who is now the National Chairman, Dashe, who did a diagnostic report of the challenges that we faced. Out of that report is an acknowledgement of where things have gone wrong. And when we came out of NASREC, we started acknowledging, for example, that these are challenges that we need to deal with. That's why you have rules such as step aside. That's why you have establishment of integrity commission, because we understood as the ANC that just being simplistic in terms of legalistically to say you are innocent until proven guilty, it's not sufficient for a leadership of the ANC and of the country. We needed to start looking into the moral leadership so that it can build confidence going forward. So our issue is to say, as we rebuild the organization, as we renew, as we work towards ensuring that the economy can grow, there is a need to ensure that we have the right leadership that can be able to ensure that the ANC is repositioned properly within society. On the economic front, from a policy point of view, we believe that quite a number of good policies have been developed. The issue has been implementation. And that's why when we come to government, we've now focused more on the implementation. That's why I can tell you about the economic reconstruction and recovery plan implementation sitting now at almost, it could be even above 60%, but conservatively, I would say 60%. And we're publicly accounting to say, this is a plan we committed to rebuild the economy, and this is where we are. In the coming few weeks, we will be publicly engaging on the economic proposals. And our view is that we know that most of the time we've driven slogans within the economy, which is not assisting. South Africans are saying, we do not have jobs. Right. We want to get out of poverty. So we're not looking for slogans, we're looking for solutions. And our policy paper is positioning ANC towards that.
Well, I appreciate you speaking to us, Minister of Human Settlements and Cabinet's head of the economic cluster. Thank you so much for your time. As you know, of course, Team South Africa being out there in Davos in Switzerland. And of course, the Minister taking our time to update us.